Perfect. Look at that.
Fancy.
Starting off, just blowing it. Just starting off already on the back foot. I'm getting festive here. I'm broadcasting live from the North Pole today, and I'm pretty excited. I've got a great guest on today, Dr. Scott Kollen, joining me here at the not at the North Pole. He's too busy with new babies to leave the nest right now. Hey.
Oh man, yeah. Parenthood it's a trip. Everybody tells you it'll be hard, but you can never really fully appreciate that till you're in it.
Yeah. When we had our first, somebody like in the first 100 days, like Mark, it's the 100 days of hell. You know, you're
Yep.
into it. Sleep, it's an adjustment for everybody, right?
Somebody referred to it as the 100 days of darkness. So hell, darkness, chaos, whatever you want to.
It all stems from the same evil.
Yes, exactly.
No, it's awesome, and congratulations. That's great, and baby and mom are healthy and happy, and yeah. And you're
They're all
tired.
doing well.
I can tell. Hey, you're the burn the candle from even the middle, both ends, the middle.
Somebody sent me a meme the other day when it was like, I wish the bags under my eyes were Gucci. And I was like, I guess I could kind of relate to that.
Yeah. Awesome. You have a ton of things going on. We're going to get into that. But how's the practice going? I know with everything going on, new babies and all these, like you've got a lot of irons in the fire. Like how's owning a dental practice these days and the challenges involved with that?
It's going. Yeah, I guess the practice is the main iron in the fire. I guess it's December 1st. We just wrapped up our most productive month so far since we opened, which has been awesome. We hit capacity about a year ago, actually, and we finally got started on construction on the adjacent space. So we're going to be able to add some capacity next year and add 4 more operatories. So we'll be at 10 ops, hopefully sometime in the spring, and be able to bring in more hygienists, CDAs, admin, and another associate, and be able to help serve the community, because the demand keeps increasing and my availability at least is pretty capped out.
Yeah. Your location actually is a great location. Like it's a growing area.
It's awesome.
It's like your practice is, how new is it? It's like pretty new and you're adding on to it already?
We opened May of 2019 with 3 operatories and just like me, an assistant, a hygienist, and honestly, it's just kept on rolling. After the COVID shutdowns, it just kept on churning, and yeah, we hit capacity last year. So when I pull up my practice analytics and I look at the number of patients that have their next recall scheduled, it kind of pains me every time I see that, because there's nowhere on the schedule to slot them in.
Yeah, well, that's a great problem to have, really. Like that's,
it is.
So
it is.
What's your secret
I've
sauce?
been on the other side.
Yeah, no kidding. And I talk to a lot of folks out there that are in that position. So good on you. You just spoke to like analytics and data. What software are you using to measure that stuff?
Practice by numbers. We also use Flex Dental for all of our online booking. Back when we opened a few years ago, online booking really wasn't much of a thing, and I really leveraged that to our initial email list. And by the time we actually opened up the schedule to start taking appointments, we had the fortunate circumstance of our website crashing.
Oh, wow.
Because too many people were trying to access it and book all at once.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Yeah. I still got the screenshot of that.
Yeah.
So that was a fun little hiccup.
How anyone operates without a ReCare software set and something to measure the practice with and expect to grow, I don't know how they would go about that. And I know there's a lot of clinics with great people in the front But just equipping them with the right tools just makes them that much better. Would you agree with
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. With those analytics, they're all lead indicators where, like traditionally with dental, you had your P&L statements from your accountant, and they're already like 6 weeks behind by the time you get them. And that's all lag indicators, like driving to your new destination, only looking in the rear view mirror kind of thing. You can't really tell where you're going without the analytics info.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a broken record with this phrase, but like you really, you can't manage what you don't measure. I always say,
Yeah.
you know,
Measure what matters.
yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that comes to your marketing ROI, so many things, so many things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So other than the practice, what else, what other irons are in the fire right now for you?
Well, I mean, there's the practice, and then there's the whole expansion of the practice, which is
Yeah.
another project on the side to manage and coordinate and pick out equipment and all that fun stuff. Speaking of which, the next thing on the list, snowball seminars, is another kind of side thing that myself and my partner Tan have going on. It's basically a 2 day seminar that we're running in April, and we talk about all aspects of startup clinics. He's done a few out in Calgary, and I've been in a big group in Calgary that had done probably about 13 to 15 startups. So I was kind of immersed in that. Not to mention my one here in Vancouver. So this is going to be the third session that we're running. And then the other thing that we launched, when was that? Back in October, was a buying group for dentists,
Right.
basically a group purchasing organization called Kakebo Dental Network. And basically what that is a network of clinics that we basically use our, yeah, there you go, there's a website. We use our size to negotiate pricing and discounts and various value adds from a variety of vendors. And basically, I'm just adding on vendors and trying to add on as many vendors as we can to basically help the general everyman dentist experience a little bit more cost savings that's typically only available to bigger group practices or DSOs. And basically, like, I don't think independent dentistry is dead by any means, and just
Hmm.
trying to basically give those dentists a little bit of a leg up in the rising cost of business that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's, yeah, we all know that the big like buying power is a thing, right? So,
Yeah.
where whereabouts is where's the group at this point? Are you? Is it launched?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we launched. We've got 30 something clinics onboarded right now. Um, my whole philosophy on it was actually this kind of stemmed from the clinic expansion. A year ago, we hit capacity, and I've been paying rent and all the carrying costs on an extra 1,300 square feet for, I think, well, today's the December 1st, so this will be my 13th month of paying rent on an unutilized space right now.
Yeah.
So, in order to try and offset some of those carrying costs, I mean, can't really easily renegotiate your lease with your landlord. Um, Good luck trying to negotiate a pay decrease for your hygienist.
Yeah.
So I just kept on looking down the list on my P&Ls to see where we could try and extract some cost savings, and supplies is typically one of them. And through some of these vendors, and as well as tightening up some of the ordering protocols, that's where I was able to get some of the supply costs. There's a few months that we're down under, we're like 4 to 5%, and that really helps free things up. Whether it be putting that saved money to hiring a new staff member, or a marketing campaign, or just trying to offset your rent payment on the additional space. So that's kind of the initial struggle that led me down the path to getting this buying group off the ground.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. And we're seeing more of these types of groups popping up. There's one in Edmonton. I don't know where
Mm-hmm.
it's at. I think it's maybe even called the Edmonton Buying Group, Dental Buying Group. But so how do you perceive like running this successfully? Who's helping you run this? With so many things going on, your own practice. What's your plan for that, for just running this group?
Well, right now it's pretty much me.
Yeah,
My wife was helping out a little bit earlier, but then the baby arrived, so
yeah, yeah.
the priorities got shifted a little bit. So yeah, right now it's me. Um, Trying to basically get our roots down in BC. I find BC is kind of the last place for any dental tech or any new innovations like that. It usually comes up across the border into Ontario or Quebec first, and then slowly trickles westward. So, uh, yeah, trying to get the roots down in BC first, and then maybe start expanding over into Alberta or Saskatchewan as well. So it's a slow expansion. As you had mentioned it, and as I had mentioned, there's a lot of irons in the fire right now. But
Hmm.
uh, yeah, basically, I'm always chatting with vendors and trying to see what kind of value adds we can add for our members.
Hmm. Oh, it's great. We're a member too, so thanks for the invite. It's cool to be a part of something like that. And with these DSOs, these big group, the 123s and the dental corps,
Mhm.
they have. I could see the draw. I can see
Mhm.
the draw to selling to them. You don't have to deal with marketing and staffing and the whole ball of wax. It's you know not everybody's looking at dashboards like you. It's on top of delivering good dentistry and patient care, it's you guys have your work cut out for you. So man, oh man, yeah, it's great being in a position to help folks like you. So um,
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I found, again, when I mentioned things kind of trickle up over the border from the States in terms of the dental industry, the same thing goes for these group purchasing organizations. There's tons of them all across the US, whether they're regional or national. Some of them, I was chatting one of those, with one of them a few months ago, and they've got 4,000 member dentists
oh
in
wow,
their group. I was
yeah,
like, that's more dentists than there are in BC.
yeah. I think there's like
Yeah.
2,700 dentists in BC. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy the amount of innovation that happens south of the border before it works its way up into Canada.
Well, even I had Michelle from Dent Supply Sorona on um, back the last episode, and even when it comes to material and like Health
Mhm.
Canada approval, we sort of get we see what's coming down there. I guess that kind of goes for a lot of different industries, right? Where
Exactly.
they're
Exactly.
just kind of trucking along forward, and I don't know. I think people accept things down there a little fast. So maybe business is a little easier to do down there, just in general.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. I could rant and rave on
Yeah.
doing business in Canada, but we'll save that for an
E-
offline conversation.
Episode 2. um,
Yeah.
so what when you came up with this group concept, what sort of vendors were you looking to bring on board? Was there a specific?
Any anything and everything that a typical independent dentist would use. So clinical dental supplies, office supplies, your pens, paper, that kind of stuff, uh, payroll, phones and internet, marketing services, dentist on demand, uh, bookkeeping, continuing education, small equipment like intraoral cameras. I mean, the list goes on. I basically was looking just at my credit card statement, seeing what kind of vendors am I working with here, and let's try and get a vendor from each of these categories on
Yeah,
board.
that's a good good place to start. Oh
Exactly.
man. And what's the interactions been like so far with the vendors and the group? Has it been? Oh, I see Frontier on here too. They're great.
Yeah, we've
Um,
had a really good response from both vendors and our members so far. I've got I've got a pile of emails and messages that I've got to get around to put up for testimonials so far. But
yeah.
again, another project. Who else do I have on there? Oh yeah, financial services, IT, and then obviously Snowball Seminars, a plug for my own other
Hmm.
uh, business as well.
Let's talk about this. Oh, there we go. What's what's the premise of this business, that this snowball seminars? What's this all about?
So rewind back to when I was in Calgary. I was in a group practice, and we went from 5 to 15 clinics in maybe a 3 year time span. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And Alberta having a higher fee guide, I feel it's a little bit more cutting edge when it comes to dental compared to here on the West Coast. Anyways, I was able to see, like, my eyes were opened as to what's possible, what to look for in locations. Actually, so I was with Trek Dental. I think you may
Yep.
know
Yep.
Jan.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Jan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I credit Jan for a lot of my learning.
Yeah.
He's a really good mentor.
Well, it seems
And
like he's
so
really got it figured out. Like really,
yeah,
like in terms of community and team culture, the whole, like from top to bottom. It seems like he's got
yeah.
it.
And so coming back to BC, and then, well, actually, let me rewind again. In Calgary, one of the startup locations that I had done, Trek was great. They let me keep working as an associate while also doing one of the startups that was in an inner city location that had a higher amount of competition, a bit slower growth in the surrounding area, and that clinic was fairly slow to get off the ground. Um, and anyways, when I came back to BC, I wanted to see how to basically accelerate that timeline of getting into the black, plenty of new patients, et cetera, et cetera. And just chatting more so with my dad. He's an industrial project manager, just on ways to be able to save money, things to look for. Uh, Basically, River District kind of blew everything out of the water in terms of what my expectations were in terms of clinic growth. And shortly after COVID had happened, myself and Tan, who's a UBC fellow UBC grad, we decided to put our brains together and put together a little seminar series that is beneficial for Canadian dentists. We talk about anything and everything related to startups, whether it's, should I even do a startup? Does it fit with my current life circumstances and goals? Location, demographics, floor plans, how to analyze the space, work with a designer. We bring in a designer that's done a bunch of dental clinics to help walk us through what to look for, how to make an efficient plan. We pull um, design cues from heavier industry. I used to work as a cabinet maker back in the day. Not that it's heavy industry, but some of the kind of workstation setups pull some design philosophies from that industry. We talk about legal finance. We bring in lawyers. We bring in real estate investors that are big into the healthcare realm. Uh, Chat a little bit about marketing, ways to save on equipment, because when people are going through these startup phases, it's really easy just to hand everything off to a big dealer. Um, and don't get me wrong, dealers are great, but there's always going to be their financial incentive to sell equipment, cabinetry, et cetera, that may not be the best thing that a startup dentist needs at the time. Because when you're going through a slow startup, and like I said, I've seen both of them, you need cash.
Yeah.
And if that's
Yeah.
up in stuff that is not producing,
Well,
then it can be
especially
really
when
easy.
you're sitting on student debts and everything as well. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So we basically wanted to put together a seminar to help walk people through how to make fiscally responsible decisions when it comes to doing a startup, and kind of help them get off on the right foot. Because yeah, we've seen both ends of the spectrum, and one end is way better, to way less stomach lining lost.
Yeah, no doubt.
compared
And
to taking the
I
red
mean,
out.
I don't. I've got a lot of friends in the distributor. Like they're great people, and it's there is financial incentive for them to sell that equipment and build those practices. So um, you know, it's great to have the control through that process, right?
Exactly. And I mean, whether it's dental startups or investments or parenting or whatnot, it's a lot more prudent to take advice from people that have walked the walk
Sure.
before
Yeah.
and had to go through all of the pros and cons or hardships that are involved from being in the owner dentist shoes.
Yeah, and you're not selling any of the equipment. You're just selling the training and the know-how, and that's
Selling the information.
yeah,
I don't make any money
yeah,
off the equipment that they buy
yeah.
or
Brought to you by
space
ADAC,
that they
right?
lease or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
if they want to sign up for Kakebo Dental Network, that's another story.
There you go. Hey, oh, I see what's going on. Like you're vertically integrating everything together. It's
There
perfect.
you go.
Yeah. No, this is it's great. You're doing a lot of things. This is amazing. And so what this whole entrepreneurial brain mindset? Where did this all start for you?
That's a great question. Well, probably my dad. I'll put it that way. He was a manager for a big. Well, I shouldn't say big. He was a manager for a hydroelectric power company, and then I think when I was like 14 or 15, uh, that company got sold, and he decided to forge out on his own. Took out a small loan and purchased a work truck and basically built up a book of business into what's become a pretty successful company. And just having a kind of backseat view of the entrepreneur journey was always something that kind of piqued my interest. And the funny thing is, through high school and even undergrad and dental school, I had very little interest in the business side of things. And it wasn't until you're actually an owner and then like
Yeah.
your name is on the hook for these loans that I was like, I should probably learn some business stuff from my dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, so between him and then, like I said, being in that entrepreneurial startup atmosphere with Trek Dental in Calgary,
Hmm.
uh, I guess those are kind of the two big uh, flashpoints that started all of this off.
Are you still in pretty close contact with Jen? You guys chat all
I
the
chat with
time?
them every now and then, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you know Wally from their group
Yep.
as well, but uh, yeah, I definitely still chat with them on
Yeah.
a
Like
regular basis.
I could just see Jan. Like you call him up, you have a problem with anything, he'd be the guy to like kind of stop and help you out. It's the kind of guy
Yeah,
that crosses me out. Yeah. That's a pretty good mentor too. You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess my brother moved down to San Francisco 3 or 4 years ago, and he's been heavily involved in all the Silicon Valley tech startup stuff. And it's really interesting chatting business with people that work in other industries because when you compare it to dental, we're pretty small beans
Oh yeah.
compared to a lot of these companies that are either in Silicon Valley or industrial energy. Like you want to talk bigger risks, bigger numbers. Those are a couple main industries to get involved with. So yeah, they've always got an interesting perspective on the things that I bring up to chat with them about.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to talk about how it works in different industries too. I think if you got the blinders on, I think it opens up your perspective to things if you see different angles to how it all plays out, how the numbers work, and um, it's hard to we get so lost in our own track, right?
We got
Um,
the tunnel vision loops on and forget
yeah,
what's going on
yeah,
in
yeah.
the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah. What? Okay, so I'm a dentist, or I'm going through school right now. Where do I even begin? Like, I'm getting out of school. I'm, looking at all these groups. I'm looking at it, maybe associating somewhere. Where do I even begin?
Loaded question. It really depends on what you want down the road. I mean, dentistry is a really great profession in that there's so many different avenues that one can choose to follow. So I mean, for a new grad, I think having exposure to as many of those different paths right off the bat would be beneficial, because the earlier you learn things about factors that may inform your future career decisions, the better, because you can't get that time back.
Yeah.
And you start going down the wrong path and don't realize that there's a better one that's better suited for what you want, then it's hard to backtrack up the road and then take the turn off down that other path. So, I mean, exposing yourself to as many like study clubs, shadowing, trying to get into CE courses that may offer like student discounts. Um, there's a bazillion Facebook groups, lots of stuff going on down in the US, obviously, in terms of continuing education and all the other things that happen in our dental industry. So, yeah, just really expanding the horizons of what's possible in the industry. Because I know, at least for when I went through school, like it was pretty fairly common to be in that path where the next step is, oh, I'm going to go be an associate. And I know nothing about business, which to be fair, I didn't, but that doesn't mean we can't learn it.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, learning it earlier, I think, would be a huge piece of advice.
Well, I mean, in this day and age, the amount of information that's available, we're lucky, I think.
Oh, it's insane.
Right?
I
We're
mean,
so
thinking back,
lucky.
like 2023, this was my 10-year anniversary. And I'm thinking back when I finished dental school, like Instagram wasn't really a thing at all.
Hmm.
We weren't doing Zoom calls. There wasn't really anything streaming. And then now, I mean, you can go online, look at Instagram and just get daily feeds of, oh, this is how my crown preps could look. I
Yeah.
should up my game. Or, I mean, pull up any of the interviews that you've had on the Dentist on Demand Instagram page and just start listening for free on your commute.
Yeah.
It's insane the amount of information at our fingertips, and I think it's also insane to not take advantage of it.
Yeah. And then watch a YouTube clip on how to do the backsplash for your kitchen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Plans for Christmas? Are you guys just gonna hang out and
We
just
are
exist?
hunkering down.
Yeah.
Maybe we might get some snow up here, which would be great. And I am, yeah, just going to be trying to catch up on lost sleep, and then probably get a few more calls in with some vendors
Nice.
during the break, and yeah, relax.
Awesome.
It's been a heck of a year, so
Yeah, I would say.
recharge for next year.
Yeah. What's first up for 2024? What's the first quarter? What's the goal?
Ooh,
What's the plans?
what do we have going on? There's a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a Sure Smile event in January. I've got a Europe vacation, PDC speaking on the Saturday, the snowball course. I guess we're getting into the second quarter of the year, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that snowball's on April 20th, 21st.
April 20th, 21st. Yeah, exactly. That's
Where just go to the website and get information. Is that sort of the best method?
Yeah, snowballseminars.com. For any of your listeners, if they can input the code DOD10, they'll get 10% off
Nice.
their tuition fee for that. So little gift there.
A little early Christmas present.
Yeah. Oh, I got another one for Kakebo too, if anybody's
Yeah, I was gonna
interested.
say I was just keying that up. So,
Yeah.
more info about the group membership, interested vendors. I'm sure just kind of click on these things and away they go.
Yep, exactly. And if anybody's wanting to sign up, they can get 25% off their first payment. I got to make the code, but it'll be DOD25 for
There
that
you
one.
go. We'll make sure that we throw that in the description so that
Much appreciated.
making it easier for people is always good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome.
Life is hard enough.
I know. Like, let's simplify, right? Let's simplify. Yeah, right. Good luck.
Exactly.
Any last thoughts before I let you go back to it?
No, I think we covered a whole bunch. This was awesome. Time flew by, and thank you for what you guys are doing for the industry. It's nice to see you pulling people from all different aspects of the dental world and letting us share our stories.
Well, like I'll be honest, the amount that I've learned having these conversations is so invaluable. From clinical to laboratory to everything. It's been like I'm really lucky actually, and it's like a fire hose of info. So thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate your time for being on today.
Thank you as well, Mark. And yeah, it's great chatting with you as always.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.